Russia's military continues to try and repel Ukrainian forces on their own soil in what is deemed as the largest cross-border incursion throughout this war. The surprise counterattack prompted the Kremlin to declare a federal-level emergency in the Kursk region. Jason Guidola following this story closely. Jason, how much of a gain has Ukraine made so far?
And Nicole, Ukraine appears to have made some considerable ground over the span of 4 days. However, Moscow responded after Ukraine says a Russian missile struck a shopping mall, killing at least 14 people today. Body bags are seen right outside a supermarket in Donetsk, Ukraine today as first responders reel back from the destruction of Russian artillery. Military officials say at least 14 people are dead and more than 40 are wounded. The latest Russian aggression comes 4 days after hundreds of Ukrainian troops poured across the border in what looks like to be Kyiv's biggest attack on Russian soil since the war began.
Now, the official Russian approach here is telling. Far from trying to hide the fact that they failed to protect their border, they're deflecting. President Putin accusing Ukraine of indiscriminately shelling civilians, portraying Russia as the victim of what he called a major provocation.
Following the large-scale incursion, Moscow says it has now declared a federal-level emergency in the Kursk region, and the Kremlin's reserve troops have been deployed.
Even if Ukraine doesn't end up holding this territory, once Russia tries to reinforce and redeploy, the point is they showed the capability that they can go deep into Russia, some 20 miles in and some 100 square miles. I mean, that's a lot of territory.
І українок, які повертають справедливість, які знищують окупанта і захищають наші позиції.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky still hasn't acknowledged the counterattack, but has been briefed about his troops' defensive actions. Meanwhile, Russia's leader Vladimir Putin held an operational meeting with his Security Council.
The Russians were completely, utterly unprepared, and I don't think they had any real forces defending this area because they felt secure in that the Ukrainians wouldn't be able to do this. And even if they were, they wouldn't dare to do this. And even if they wanted to, that their Western partners, first and foremost Washington, would hold them back.
The White House said they weren't given a heads up about the operation. It's speculated that Ukraine's aim could be to draw Russia away from eastern Ukraine and potentially improve Kyiv's hand in the event of negotiations with Moscow. Talks that could happen at another peace summit in November, right before the U.S. presidential election.
Well, not just Putin. Putin and Zelensky are both trying to game that situation. What are the odds of it going this way or that way? How do I decide what to do now based on that? So if Putin were to start to think there's a chance Trump won't win, it might make things look a little different.
Today, it's being reported that Ukrainian troops have made gains as far as 35 kilometers into Russian territory, into areas where Russia's energy resources are located. Nicole.
That's Jason Guidola with the latest overseas.